Looking to start or grow your own local marketing agency? It's an almost endless sea of options, but we're here to help. It's time for you to become a shark. Welcome to the Sharks Live Show, your weekly local marketing jam session. It's time, the moment you've been waiting for. After 167 agonizing hours, they've returned. Get ready for the fastest 60 minutes of local marketing strategy, tactics, tips, and fun on planet Earth. Broadcasting live from their island retreats, smack dab in the middle of the Pacific Ocean, with an enormous amount of aloha spirit. It's your hosts, the Offline Sharks, Tom Gaddis and Nick Ponte.
That was pretty great.
Yeah, we're getting a little better at that. That's good.
I could see us like peeking in. Is it time? Like from the corner.
Hey, aloha, everybody. Welcome to the Shark Show. Woo! How's everybody doing this Friday? Cameron says, woot, woot.
Woot, woot.
Awesome. Aloha,
Remember that?
Emily.
Remember that back in the day when you'd raise the roof?
Raise the roof. Yeah. Hey, aloha, Suzette. Suzette says she loves the new intro. We're trying to punch up the what do you call it? The production values. The production values. Who does the voiceovers? That's Nick's fiance.
Wow. I'm gonna tell her you said that, dude. She's gonna beat you up.
No. We Cameron actually found that person to do those intros. I don't know what his name is, but they're really good. He actually found them on Fiverr, which was
Did he?
yeah. It was a Fiverr. It was a Fiverr job. Found him on there. He does a really great job.
Yeah. I'm gonna grab a drink. I'll be right back. 1 second. David reminded me. I need a drink.
Yeah.
Hold
Hey,
up.
aloha, Patty, Holly, welcome. Yeah, David says grabbing a Diet Coke. I have my iced tea right here in my OU cup in preparation for game day tomorrow. First game of the season. I actually didn't think there was going to be a season. Yeah. Yeah, you know, Dorn, it's so funny. My wife and I, we watched this movie last night on Netflix called Time Trap. And one of the main girls in there she looks a lot like Sloane. My wife turned to me and was like, doesn't she look like Sloane? I was like, she does.
Are you guys talking smack about Sloan again?
No, I was saying we watched this movie on Netflix last night called Time Trap. And one of the main girls in it, she looks like Sloane. Miranda, I was thinking it at the beginning, and then Miranda turned to me and she was like, doesn't that girl look like Sloane? I was like, yep, she does.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Hey, aloha, Cheryl. Hey, Cheryl, it's good to see you here. I was talking to Jacqueline yesterday, and she told me that you've been going through some health stuff. So I'm really makes me feel good to see you on the call and see you here. It's not a Long Island iced tea. It's just regular iced tea. Awesome. I see Dorn's got his. Cameron's here. Sweet guy. Welcome. Holly says, go Razorbacks. Awesome. Yeah, who would have thought we'd actually be... I mean, the NFL season kicked off yesterday, which was crazy. Awesome. Well, we're super excited you guys are all here. We have a great Shark Show lined up for you today. We appreciate you taking some time out of your Friday and this kind of, this day of reflection on 9/11, and appreciate you hanging out with us. We thought we'd do our kind of usual deal, talk about local marketing, and hopefully give you guys some inspiration and some motivation to keep moving forward in your businesses and answer any questions. So, yeah, aloha, Saeed, Allison, Mark, and awesome. I see lots of people coming on, so really, really great. Super excited you guys are all here. And Nick, man, what's been going on in the agency?
What's been going on in the agency? Well, we have been, a lot of you saw that we have been working out the kinks of a new service. So we've been doing a lot of prospecting, doing our usual deal. You know, we verified, I think, 21 businesses yesterday, which was a great number. Good job, Al. Yeah. So, and that was in the automotive industry. So good possible niche for everybody that's, you know, following that strategy. But yeah, we've been really just kind of pairing and working out the kinks of this new service, you know, working on the fulfillment with our clients. We got a new sign recently. Hold on one second. Let me get that.
Oh, Nick's going to sport the new sign.
Got a new sign recently.
Oh, nice.
It's pretty cool.
Yeah, you guys want to hear something really crazy? So the other day, Nick and I were in his office, and we were working on something, and we found this old graphic that Nick made, and it was like a dead ringer for where we were sitting in his office. Like it just looked exactly the same. Like it was just a computer image he'd done of that sign, like on the wall, and the laptop sitting there, and we were like, "Oh my god!" Like it's so crazy. Like an image when. I mean, there was no thought of an office or any of that stuff back then. And here we had like just kind of walked right into the exact same image.
Yeah, it was one of those, I think a lot of you know what I'm talking about. It was one of those like those mock-up creators where you can like put an image in a computer screen and it's like in a setting, right? With like a desk and stuff on the walls and things like that. And so I had made that mock-up for some training we did at some point, or maybe it was on my Instagram, I don't know. And it literally looked like exactly where we were sitting. Like even the computer that we had there with like the image on the computer, and it had like my brand name. It was crazy.
Yeah, I was like, and that Paula, that's exactly what I thought too, like vision board. Like I remember a long time ago, I made this vision board, and then one day, I mean, years later, I was like, I'd kind of almost forgotten all about it. And then one day I was thinking about, God, I used to have this vision board. And I was like, oh my God, like everything that was on that board has like come to pass. It was crazy.
I mean, I don't know, you know, whatever. It probably works. I don't know, but
who knows? But
I have since the start of, like, I remember I put on a piece of printer paper when I was like, I want to hit 6 figures in my agency. And I wrote it. I wrote just the number, 100,000. And I put it in the drawer. And that was the second year, I think. Maybe even the first year. I don't even know. And I put it in the drawer, the top drawer of my office, and like at my house, right? And every time I open the drawer, I see this cut out. It's 100,000. And I remember when I hit that, and every time I've hit that, I've created a new number and put it in there and been like, there's no way. And every single year I'm putting a new number in there, which is crazy. So
yeah, Nick texts them to me when he does a new one. He takes a picture of it and he texts it to me. He's like, here we go, bro. I'm like, oh boy. Yeah. So Chris, hey Paul, welcome to the Shark Alliance, man. That's awesome.
Maybe instead of throwing the number away, I should like pass it on to somebody at the end, maybe. You know?
Yeah.
Here, well, you know, lucky, don't drop it.
Yeah. Well, it's like what you said, like, I don't know if that stuff works or doesn't work, but like, what the heck? It's like, it doesn't hurt to do it, right? Like, what's it really like? It doesn't really affect anything to do it. And it's pretty crazy how it seems to work out that way.
Here's what I do know. The more good stuff you do, at least for me, the more good stuff I do, I'll speak in the I, you know, helping people out, doing these other things, the more good stuff happens to me. If I start doing some like weird squirrely stuff where I'm trying to like get one over on the system or do this weird, then that stuff starts happening to me. So I don't know if, you know, manifesting and all that works, but I know that whatever you put out there, at least for me, that's really what I get back. And it's not always easy to, you know, toe the line, but I mean, every time I step out a little bit, even if it's just for like just a little, you know, it comes right back. So
Yeah, I've noticed that. I've noticed that same thing too, right? Like the more, I know in the beginning, like when I was very first starting my agency, and I've talked about this before, like, I was really doing it for like money was the right, like I wanted the money. And so I was crafting, I was crafting outreach and putting together services and things, but I wasn't really like thinking about the value. I mean, I don't know how to describe this. Like obviously I knew the services I had I knew the services I had would provide value, but like it wasn't my main motivation wasn't to bring that value. It was like I just think this is something they'll buy, right? I mean, that's the difference. And once I started to shift my thinking from not thinking about is this something they'll buy, but like thinking about, okay, is this something that will give them value? Do I feel this will really give them value? Can I believe it will give them value? And then do I really honestly just want to try to help them? Like once I made that shift and started kind of operating in that way, things started getting, a lot better for me. One of the stories I always tell is like when I was very first starting off, I used to like, because I was broke, like I was more than broke. I used to always search the dark places of the web to get software that I couldn't afford, And so I had all these tools and software on my computers. And one day I was like, Tom, this isn't good. Like, how do you expect someone else to be, upfront with you and buy your services when this is how you're operating behind the scenes? And so I deleted all that stuff. Like I deleted it all off my hard drive and I bought like one or two programs that I could scrape the money together for and started moving forward. And that was another shift in the way the success started to happen for me because I wasn't operating in that shady way behind the scenes, And I don't know. I think people can just pick up on that sometimes.
So when you did that, was that like was that when you finally started having some success after you deleted that stuff?
Yeah, well, it's weird. It's like I can go back and say like, yeah, I really wasn't getting much traction before that, and then I started to get traction. So again, it because of that? I think it had a part in it, right? I think it made me be able to deal with people in a more authentic way. Like the more time goes by, the more and more I see the power of being authentic and not trying to play a role. Like in the beginning, I was trying to play the role of a marketer, whatever I thought that was. And as time progresses, I've just, tried to shed all that stuff away and be more and more authentic with people. And it shades the conversations I have with them because I don't have to try to be selling them stuff all the time. I'm honestly just like, hey, look, I know how to do some things that you probably don't know how to do. Like I would like to help you to be able to do them. And if it's a fit, it's a fit. And if not, no big deal. It's like, it's definitely, I think made my interactions with potential customers and people that I end up doing business with more rewarding and much better,
I know that one thing and let me know, you guys, everybody that's here with us today, that Tom and I both really try to make it a point to do is because what we're talking about, this integrity, this spirit of conviction, if you will. I feel like for both Tom and I, when even from the very first like information, the training that we put out there, we looked at it and we were like, we got to put more in there. Like we need something on prospecting. Like we can't create a fragmented training. Like, can you guys relate to seeing or buying a product or seeing a product out there, a training product where you get in there and there's like, there's missing pieces. There's just like, they tell you that there's this service, they're going to teach you the service or whatever, but there's a piece missing on how to actually find the person and what to say to them. Right. But they give you all the other stuff. Like they show you how to fulfill it, but it's missing. It's a missing piece. Right. So for us, we have this weird standard, and you guys know, because you've seen all of our products, when you get in there, you have every single bit, right? From what it is, how to do it, how to prospect, how to fulfill, how to sell, how to price, like a little bit of everything. And for us, it's just we've always wanted to be different in that way. And I think, having that kind of as our our North Star in our business, you know, over delivering, even in the types of products that are, you know, not crazy expensive, right? Like a $27 product out there easily be, you know, I mean, we launched it at $27, but we sell it at $200 moving forward, but we launch it at 27, right? And that is so like underpriced for how much time, effort, experience, and training that we've over delivered in. So, you know, I think having that as our North Star has been a piece for us, and a way that we've grown such a bomb thriving community like we have here in the chat box today and in our Facebook group, and, you know, all together. So if you're thinking about that, if anybody's thinking about that, like, think about your North Star and what it is. If it's working with clients and delivering value, or, you know, getting information out there, that will not always easy, but it will take you a long way, I believe.
Yeah, I think that having that part in there, also like really focusing on things that we're actually doing is a big, another part of the integrity piece, right? Like not just creating training to create training, like basing it around things we actually do in our agencies is another big piece of that. And, you know, it's been a big part of our business partnership too, because, you know, sometimes people ask us all the time, like, hey, how have you guys been able to keep this going and keep it running? I mean, it's been pretty amazing how smoothly our business partnership has run over the years, where a lot of people have trouble. And I think it's because of that, because we were very kind of clear in the beginning of what our integrity points were. And then we really stick to them, like even when it's uncomfortable or even when it's like, it's like, we really work hard to stick to them. So yeah, super important piece.
Yeah. And I think the, it's interesting. Yeah. Like partnerships. And I know a lot of people are out there thinking about partnerships. Maybe you have a partnership, and Tom and I are fortunate in that we live somewhat close to each other, right? Well, pretty close to each other. He lives like right down the street from me.
Yeah.
I walked to his house the other day to drop something off just because I needed to get out of the house. But I know that's not the case for everybody, right? And we have, you know, people like Cameron lives in Michigan, right? And, you know, he works every day with us, and we all, our company as a whole, I think we have a level of communication and trust that's extremely important. You know, business partners, team members, whatever it is, that is so important, especially if you're trying to build a remote type business, right? You're outsourcing, you have contractors all over the world. Like, it's important to let them know that those are the important things to you. And like Tom said, you know, early on, I think we did a good job making that clear. Sometimes I call Tom the moral compass.
He said that's already. He said, "You're the compass." I was like, "Oh man, we're in trouble."
but yeah, I mean, it's definitely not easy. Like that's another good thing you mentioned there, Tom. Like we've had people higher level, not going to name any names, but higher level, like top internet marketer people. You all know these people tell us like partnerships are no go. Like don't ever get in a partnership. Don't ever. But like, I mean, I disagree with them, right? Like it's all about having clear communication and the right partner, probably.
Yeah. Well, I think that in anything, whether it's partnerships, whether it's clients, whether it's whatever you're dealing with, like, you know, the other part of that and that integrity part is the communication, right? And sticking to it. Like you just have to stick to it no matter what. And sometimes that can get a little tricky, right? Especially when there's money on the table, you know, it's hard, you know, it can be a challenge, but you just gotta do it. So only way I can say it. So awesome. Well, why don't let's do some shark shout outs. I want to do some shark shout outs because I got some pulled up here for you guys. I'm going to pull up our screen. Our first shark shout out is going to go to James Healey. So James, man, congratulations. James landed $1,000 a month, 1K a month client for his new service. So he's excited to scale this option in about 30 days, and he's agreed to be his beta. Man, awesome work.
And I saw that fish that Brandon posted below there. That was pretty cool. Those things are, those are some pretty wicked fishes. I mean, they're I think they fight. They're like fighter fishes, right? But yeah, James, congrats, man. I took a screenshot of that comment and I posted it on my story because I thought it was, it's that first $1,000 per month client is like such a milestone, right? Like I mean, that for me, that was like, 2 weeks of work, like working like, so when I got my first 1,000 per month kind of coming in all the time, like, man, it was so life-changing. So really congratulations, James, and well deserved.
Yeah. And you know what James is doing is something that I think is, I've actually been meaning to talk to you about this, Nick, but it's something that I think is a kind of a blossoming market in local. And I've just seen several people out there kind of starting to focus on this. And, what James is doing is, he's helping these local people who want to have some type of local influence, like put together podcasts and do some authority building stuff that way. And like their goal is not to be the next Joe Rogan or the next Tim Ferriss. Their goal is really to deliver, highly targeted content to the people in their local area that would hire them for a service. And so, I mean, great job, James. I think you're on the cutting edge there. I think that's something we're going to hear more about as time goes on, because it's definitely an area where people can, it's almost like the AGM, right? Like you need a vehicle, you need something that sets up your credibility and your authority and allows you to make contact with those people you want to do business with, so they can, you can build those relationships. And that's one great way to do it. So awesome jobs, James. Awesome job. All right. Our next shout out goes to Ralph Birch. So Ralph says, I've got my first customer and they want to go with me for local marketing, website design, and branding. So they want to scale, and I feel confident in them and myself. They want to sign a yearly contract with a retainer for start and then monthly fee. And then he asks if anybody has a sample contract that would cover these services. And I know that I saw lots of comments in there and stuff like that. But
that's great.
Yeah. Way to go, Ralph. Really awesome.
Way to go, Ralph. And he asked for a contract and a bunch of people chimed in. I mean, that's such a great example of how powerful this group is. Even just sharing what's going on and asking for help, asking for a question, or sharing a question that you have. I mean, look at all the comments and feedback that we have that happens in this group here. It's like, it's almost unbelievable. It's like a support group, like it's like the strongest business support group you could ever be a part of, which is amazing.
Yeah, it's really, really great. So way to go, Ralph. Way to go. Oh, here, we can give you a little applause. I didn't do that for James. Sorry, James. All right. Awesome. So, Ralph, that was one. Our next shark shout out goes to Richard Cronin, who's one of our private coaching students. He's not in this class, but he was in the class before. So he's got one directory. So he sent 250. I love it when people post the process behind the results, right? We talked about this last week a little bit, how, the event is getting the client, and we always celebrate the events, but a lot of times we miss the process that goes behind things, right? So he said, look, so he's got his directory, which you put a link to there. So he sent 250 emails. He made 15 phone calls. He got 13 premium listing upgrades at $49 each. And he got one national customer at $500 per year. And that was all in 3 days. So he's like, his week is finished and he's off to the pub.
That's funny. Richard, he's worked so hard, right? Like he's made, he's had a couple of different AGM sites, and we worked pretty closely with Richard for about 6 weeks and he was doing he's got all kinds of businesses, right? He's got that big sea turtle up on his wall in his office, that stuffed animal, that e-com thing. And he's doing all kinds of stuff, right? But, to see him take this and get this type of traction in 3 days is pretty incredible.
And I think one of the big things about what Richard did here is, like you mentioned, like this isn't his first AGM site, right? Like he's really a good example of, he tried something, wasn't getting immediate traction. So he put together, I mean, the fact that you can set those sites up so easily is a big part of that, but he was able to shift and adjust until he's found something that's starting to get traction. So, I mean, that's really, really awesome. I think his pricing is great. It's a low price thing that makes it easy for people to say yes. And so great job, Richard. Great job. And Richard is he in New Zealand or Australia?
He's in New Zealand.
He's in New Zealand, right? Yeah.
Robert's in Australia, who's in our coaching class right now.
Yeah. So Richard's in New Zealand. So way to go, Richard. Enjoy the pub. Have a couple shots for Nick and I. That's awesome. Let's see. Our next shout out. This is in the why does Facebook do this sometimes?
Facebook's being weird today.
Our next shout out goes to Dorn.
The
Megalodon shark. Dorn. Go ahead.
I was just gonna say, did you see that post Dorn just made? Sorry, I didn't mean to interrupt you. What's the
I haven't seen it. Let's do the shout out first and we'll talk about that. So I like the way that Dorn did this post too, because yesterday's outcome, right? So we're talking about the process, right? Yeah. Hi, I'm Dorn and I'm a digital marketing guy. That's great. That's great.
You're in the right place, Dorn. You're in the right place.
You're in the right place. So look, he had one no-show, right? So whenever you're frustrated when people don't show up and you set meetings, like realize it happens to everybody, right? That's a normal part of doing business. You just got to let that stuff roll off you like water rolls off a duck's feathers, right? Like keep moving. So he had one no-show. He had one reschedule. He had 3 decision calls scheduled and he ended up with 2 sales. So he got a retargeting attorney, $500 setup, $997 plus ad spend per month, and a review marketing deal, which is a dog salon, and it's $250 set up with $497 a month. And then he has 6 calls today, 4 veterinarians, 2 dog boarding groomers. Awesome work, Dorn. And that's another good example of how a lot of times when we're trying to get our businesses off the ground and we're moving forward, like it's real easy to let this stuff right here get you frustrated. And you just stop taking action because you're like, this isn't working, right? But nope, you got to keep moving because, the more you got to give yourself chances to have success, right? And that's really one of the key components there. So way to go, Dorn. And so you guys know, for everybody that's in the Shark Alliance, I know a lot of you have been asking, Dorn in the Facebook group and then in the Shark Alliance group, like what he's doing, how he's doing it, what's the sales process, all that kind of stuff. So we're bringing Dorn in. So he's going to actually be running the Shark Alliance coaching calls for a little bit here. So this Monday, when you tune in for your Shark Alliance training, it's going to be Dorn and Cameron, and Dorn's going to go through some of the inside look at what he's doing and how you can do it and how you can implement it in your stuff. So I'm super excited about that because, we've been watching him just like, kick butt and take names and crushing it in the Facebook group. And now you guys can really get some great insight for him on how he's doing it and how you can implement those things yourself. So way to go, Dorn.
Yeah. I think since Dorn joined I always forget how long it's been. Dorn, remind me, has it been a year or 2 years since you first jumped into the Shark Alliance? I think it's been a year, a little longer than a year, but to see like how consistent he's been, really, the consistency of his prospecting is really what I think allows him to get those results. So I know a lot of people are, like you mentioned, are really interested in that. I'm also interested in it. I've asked him for a while, 18 months. So, I know a lot of people go, get different types of degrees for many, many years and don't make 6 figures. So, consider that, take that into consideration. Like you don't need to do that right now. You can follow.
Well, again, and the process, right? The process, being committed, consistency. Yeah. It's so funny you mentioned about the degrees. Remember that day that we were in your office at your house and you got that thing in the mail that said it was like, get a degree and you could be earning $60,000 a year. Do you remember how we looked at that and we laughed? Because I think it was like in digital something, like a web developer or something like that.
Well, this is the funniest part about that was because it was pitching me on a loan. Like it was telling me to go into debt. And it said that if I did that, I could be making up to $60,000 per year in this profession. So like, I went to a community college for automotive. I apprenticed at a Porsche shop, but my boss, who was the guy I apprenticed under, is this real strict Swiss dude, right? He made me work all day for him, which I'm grateful for that experience for sure. I learned a lot about cars. But I worked for him all day. And then at night, I would go do like night school at the community college, automotive, and learn all the foundational stuff, right? The inner workings of engines and physics and all that. And I dropped out like before actually getting my associate's degree in that class. So that's why they're hitting me up, because they saw that I had like an unfinished degree and they thought it was because I didn't have enough money to go over there and finish. They were trying to pitch me on a loan. And at that time, I'd already been making well over six figures
yeah,
for digital marketing.
Yeah, we had a good chuckle about that one. It was great. I was like, it was really awesome. All right, let's do our final shark shout out. Yeah, look, here it goes again. Dang you, Zuck.
The gremlins at Facebook, man, they're really hitting us hard these days.
Yeah, this one goes to Jacqueline Heath, who's in the UK. And so she wanted to jump. She's also in our private coaching class that's going on right now. And on yesterday's coaching call with our students, she was telling us how she has 4 clients going now, which is amazing. Jacqueline, awesome job. Then she says, look, I thought I reported on how things are going. She says her last client has been in touch to ask me to undertake routine maintenance and updating of her website. That's great. Some recurring revenue there, right? Not a huge amount of income, but it's her first recurring revenue. So she's pleased. And that is awesome, by the way. And that is one of the things that we talked to Jacqueline about, was like getting some of these quick wins in, right? And slowly building up. Really, really important. She says a potential client who manages 9 mobile homes for holiday in Yorkshire paid her today for a new website. So she's real now and she can start sorting that out. She said her long-standing client with a problematic website that no one will touch with a barge pole has finally agreed to a new website. So persistence, right? Like she's had this client that's been trying to get a website redone. It was going to be super complicated. They've been trying to find somebody, haven't. And now Jacqueline's been able to move forward with that. So she's just stayed engaged with them, right? Not giving up. And then she has a potential client who wants a website for her and her husband's business. They're in financial services. And she says she's likely to commission me for a new website tomorrow. So now she's ready to take the plunge. She's going to hire a virtual assistant. The hope is that the VA will manage your sites while she can concentrate on getting clients, which is super key, as Nick can tell you. And she'll also need someone who can do WordPress. So I'll be looking over the next couple of weeks, which, by the way, that's what we teach people in our coaching program, right? We show you how to go out, how to find people, how to build a team, how to get these people in your Rolodex so that you can, you don't have to be doing everything, which is almost impossible in today's day and age. So Jacqueline, way to go. I mean, it's awesome to watch the progress you're making and the success you're having. I know Jacqueline's been in the Sharks for a while. And I remember in the very beginning when she was like, I don't think I'm ever going to get a client, and now she's got 4. So it's really awesome to watch Jacqueline. It's amazing. So good job.
Yeah. She's and she's got that tenacity, like she told me on one of our one-on-one calls the other day, about 2 weeks ago, about like a way that she's gotten creative with finding prospects, which I'm sworn to secrecy. Can't do it, Jacqueline.
She told me about that too. It's a pretty clever way.
Yeah. And I actually, Tom, so I did it and I got a lead. Like I got a lead too. So I mean, and then, the other thing, so I just love how she's being innovative, because yet on yesterday's call, like Tom mentioned, she was telling us how she went to a virtual BNI meeting, which I think that's fine that I share with everybody, because if you're not doing that, you absolutely should. Because if you're like me and you hate going to regular BNI meetings, the virtual BNI meetings are totally where it's at, right? Like you don't have to be there. You don't have to. I mean, it's basically like being on it is a Zoom call. I'm sure it's a Zoom call, but yeah. So all the things that I do not like about BNI, me personally, like the interactions with people, getting in front of the room and talking, and all the stuff that Tom is extremely good at, are out of the equation. You know, and I know more people are like me, where you're more like introverted than like Tom, where you can go in front of BNI room and do a magic trick and just reel everybody in. like I can't do that. So when you go onto a virtual Zoom meeting in your area, like you're just on a Zoom call, right? You're in front of your computer and you're just saying, hey, this is what I do. I have a digital marketing company, whatever your commercial is for that day, or whatever service you're representing. And another a really good piece about doing what we do and BNI is if the way BNI works is, correct me if I'm wrong, Tom, there's only one of each type of service professional in each group. So like one attorney, there can't be two real estate agents, right?
Yeah, that's how it works. And for those of you that don't know, BNI stands for Business Networking International. It was started by Meisner, and it's like they're all over the world. So, and like Nick said, they form chapters, and the whole goal is that you have one person from each particular business type, so you don't have competition. And the goal is not to really do business with each other. The reason you only have one person of each business type in a chapter is because you want like the real estate agent is going to come in contact with people that are maybe they're doing a commercial loan, which means they're starting a business, right? So if you're the website person in their BNI chapter, the goal is that real estate agent would say, hey, do you have a website yet for your business? Like, I know somebody that I can connect you with. And so it's not so much to do business with each other, even though that happens. You do business with other members in the chapters and stuff, but it's really for you all to refer each other. And if you're, out in your daily life and somebody says, I'm looking to buy a house, you'd say, hey, I know a real estate agent, and you pass those referrals that way. But one of the great things is you can go to any BNI chapter for free. I think you can go to 2 meetings at no charge. It's a paid networking group, which in the beginning I was really kind of like, I wasn't sure about, but like it really does make people more serious and take it more seriously and actually do what you should be doing in the group versus groups that are free. But anyway, so you can go to 2 meetings, up to 2 meetings. It doesn't cost you anything. If you happen to go to a meeting where there is somebody in your business type, you can't do a commercial. Like if you're a website person only and there's already a website person in there, you can't go in there pitching your website services. So one of the great things that we have as digital marketers, though, is we don't just do websites, right? So like when I got into my BNI group, there was a website person. So I just did social media because there was no social media person. And then when the website person left, I took over that position. So you can find a way in, right?
That's actually exactly what I was going to say. Because I mean, look, if you're a roofer, you're kind of, and there's another roofer there, you're kind of screwed, right? Like you're not gonna be able to do something else. But for us, I mean, you could be a social media marketer, you could be a copywriter, a content writer, you could be a graphic designer, you could be a website mobile optimizer, whatever, right? Because wasn't there a guy that was trying to do, like when you took over the website designer role, didn't somebody come in and say like they were doing mobile apps or something?
Yeah, there were a couple of people that, would come to the group, and I was always pretty good about, like, I didn't really care if people, even if they were in a similar service to me, like, cause I kind of, I would let them do their commercials anyway, because, I trust that I'm building relationships. And if that person can go up and do a commercial and get the business, then more power to them, right? Like that means I'm probably not doing my job right in the group. So, but there was a guy who came in and he was doing 2 things. One, he was doing mobile apps, and then he got up because he was also doing reputation. And when he did his 30-second commercial, like I recognized the software. It was Reputation Kahuna. Like I knew as soon as he started the presentation, I was like, oh, that's Reputation Kahuna. But, I actually sent some people to him and said, like, look, you should talk to him about that, And again, that comes back to this kind of like, we were talking about an integrity and attitude, but like, I feel like there's plenty of work to go around, and I want to see other people succeed. And I was getting enough business from websites and the social media aspect of stuff that I didn't need to venture out. Like, I would much rather see that guy get a client or two and have some success. And I feel like that just makes everybody get better. Right. And, that kind of attitude, I think also, like you said in the beginning, Nick, when you do stuff like that, it comes back. Like, it comes back. It helps you out.
Yeah. Yeah. I think
things happen to you.
It's Tom and I live on this small little island, and it is really small. And there are a lot of people now that have like seen what we're doing, and they know who we are, and hit us up, and they're like, how are you doing what you're doing? Like, can you teach me? Like, and for a while there, I was getting calls all the time of people wanting to like come in like when I first opened the office, I swear there was like a call every week from somebody that were like, can I come hang out? Can I come sit in there? I just want to see what you're doing. And I'm like, I would do it. I didn't have a lot of time. I would do it when I had time, but like, I would do it because not that I see it as competition, like you're saying. Like, I think number one, there are a lot of people out there that I can't help. Like, I can only help so many businesses. You can only help so many businesses. Like, there's an unserved market. And, the level of what we're doing, like, we've been doing this for like 4 years now. So what we're providing businesses is much higher quality than what somebody brand new is starting to do. And there are often times where we're turning customers away because they're not really there yet. They're not there. They're not like ready for the quality and level of service that we're providing. Like, for example, a brand new business does not need $1,000 a month SEO package, right? They need to go figure out their business first and validate the idea, get some money, and then invest in something like SEO, or, running ads would be a much better idea. But anyway, the guy that's just learning marketing would be a much better fit for that business, right? So I send the business out that way, and teaching somebody how to do that stuff, I think it's a good thing. It comes back around. So
yeah, well, didn't you just have something happen like a month or two ago where there was an SEO guy that was really like, he was doing a lot of business here on the island, and you kind of like reached out to him and it didn't go anywhere, but then he actually came and hung out with you in your office recently because all his clients were like tourist clients. Oh, yeah. And because of the pandemic, it was like his business was just like no more. And so he reached out to you and was like, hey, can I come and see what you're doing and what you have going on?
Yeah. He actually, this is kind of a funny story, and I'll try to make it quick, but like, I remember when I was like, didn't even have a website yet, but I had like my first client, and I was like, what is a digital marketer? Like, Google searching, right? Like, what do they do? How much money do they make? Are there any of these people in Maui? And like researching it, and I came across this guy, and he was like the top guy here, right? Like, he had all the assets. His presence online was awesome. He had this big office space and was doing all these things. And I was like, whoa, I want to be that guy. I thought that was cool, right? Like, being able to run a business from your laptop was like the dream for me. It really was. And I think for so many of us, that's what it is. And that guy like validated my idea. Like, seeing him do it here, it like totally validated the idea for me. I was like, if I could try to be that guy, that would be great. And I reached out to him like a total noob. I was like, hey man, I'm trying to do what you're doing, and I'm just getting started, and I was wondering if you had any tips for me or something like that, right? And he was super cool. Like, I didn't even expect him to respond, but he was like, yeah, man, that's awesome, and what was cool about it, I just remember whatever he said was really nice. And like a year later, or a year and a half later, he had messaged me because he saw me doing something online, and he was like, hey, have we ever met before? If not, we probably should. And like, I went up to his office and hung out with him, and he was like impressed by some of the things that we were doing. And so that was like a year ago. And recently, with everything going on, he's my friend now. He's a great guy. He's like, what are you guys doing like in the digital product space? Like, how are you doing that? Because all his clients are, in the tourism industry, and that's pretty much dried up. So it's interesting how it comes full circle, right? Everybody's got to send the elevator down.
Be nice to everybody. You never know. Like, be nice to everybody. When
Yeah,
you're the guy on top, be nice to the people that aren't. And when you're not on top, be
yeah.
nice to the people that are, right? Like
You never know who's going to be teaching you one day.
Yeah, exactly. Hey, well, this is perfect timing because I see that Richard is here.
That's what
And he slept in.
I bet you did. Hey, Richard.
We
Cheers.
we did a shark shout out to you earlier, Richard, on your post where you said you closed those deals and you were off to the pub. So that's why you're getting the comments about sleeping in. But it's awesome that Richard is here because Richard, you are our member of the week. Yeah. So for those of you that don't know, our member of the week is someone who is just like super engaged in the Facebook group, posting what they're doing, responding, helping out, like just being super active. And we always send something special to our members of the week. And Richard, that's you this week. So congratulations, man.
Congrats, Richard.
For you. And congrats again on the deals you closed and the premium listings and all that stuff with your AGM site. Really, really awesome.
Yeah, it looks great. Looks great.
Yeah.
Fantastic. Big diff. I like the branding, the new branding in comparison to the Crustage. I forgot what it was called. Shop by Crustage or something like that. I forgot. Christchurch.
Christchurch, yeah.
Yep. Christchurch. The
That's
new
the
branding is
area.
really nice. The new branding is really nice.
Yeah, when Richard first sent those things in, I was like, was this guy in the religious niche? And then I was like, oh, Christchurch is the name of the place, the town. Yeah. Awesome. So way to go, Richard. Way to go. A couple of things, because we forgot to do this last week. So, and Richard, somebody from our team will be reaching out to you to get you a prize. We send that to our member of the week. So somebody will be reaching out to you for that. And then last week we forgot to do this. So I want to do this and then we can take some questions. And I saw some people had some questions in there. And I don't know, Nick, we maybe want to do some Cash App money. Like to give the Cash App. We still got to get a sound effect for that. But we'll see. So this is our book of the week, actually the book of last week and this week. It's called The Millionaire Fast Lane by MJ DeMarco. And I actually I was like, I'll just read like one chapter of this book just to see if it's going to be something I want to dig into. And I ended up like reading the whole thing in like one day. And it's got a ton of really great stuff in it on how it's not so much like specific tactics as it is overall strategy and advice on how to manage what you're doing and what types of business models you want to get going on, but like is really great. The thing we're talking about, the process and the events, that's actually right out of this book. This book was one of the things that really clarified that for me, where he was talking about how we celebrate the events, but we very rarely talk about the process. So we celebrate the guy that makes, that has a $10 million business, but we don't ever really talk about the process. And so he talks a lot about the process in here. And I found it to be super, super informative and really like got me fired up to do some stuff. Right. And also confirm something like sometimes when I read these books, because as you're going through starting a business, you're trying to do what it is you're doing. Like there are days you wake up and you're just not sure if you're doing the right thing. Right. And so there were lots of things in here that also validated like, okay, we're on the right track. Like we're doing the right things. What we're talking about are proven principles that work, right? Like you just do these things and you operate in this way and success will follow. So Millionaire Fastlane by MJ DeMarco. You can check it out if you go to offlinesharks.com/books. There's a list of all the books we do on the show there. So you can see it there, but definitely would recommend it to you guys. A really great entrepreneurial book. All right. Why don't we do some questions?
I got a great Cash App, a great way to give away money, a great vehicle.
Okay.
All right, hold on. I'm creating a banner. You guys know that we love to give away the Cash App money, right? Give me some feedback in the chat if you know that. A lot of people, they do like giveaways and stuff, or they say they're gonna do a giveaway, but they never really do. But I mean, we've given a lot of money away. And we like doing it. It makes things interesting, right? So what I think we can do, rather than a question, right? Let's do this. So we'll be giving away some money starting today and over the weekend randomly to people who do the following. You have to do this to qualify. So it'll be at random. So here's what you need to do. You need to go and follow both Tom and myself on Instagram and let us know, comment on this feed, this live stream, and we'll have someone on our team double check. We're going to do some fact checking, so don't try to game the system. You have to follow both of us. You have to follow both of us. We're trying to grow our presence there a little bit because we want to put out more content there. So follow both of us. Let us know that you did in the comments. And if you already have, then all you need to do is comment. And what I'll do is periodically be asking people for their cash tag and send you money over the weekend. What do you think, Tom? Should we give away a couple $100?
Yeah, I think that's great.
Okay. So let's do it that way, you guys. Patty says she's already following me. Are you following Tom, Patty? And if you're following Tom and me, then all you have to do is comment on this, that I'm following both of you, and we'll double check and we'll send you. You'll be entered. We'll be picking people at random.
Yeah, I haven't really pushed the Instagram thing, so thanks for throwing that in there.
I'm pushing it for you now.
See, that's a good business partner right there, right? Says, hey,
Yep.
You're not doing this. Let's get it going.
Right.
Right? Like, that's awesome. So I did see that we did have a question from I think it's Linus. It says instead of MailChimp, can I use another? So Linus, I'm not sure exactly what you're asking about. Like instead of MailChimp to what? So like we actually use for Agency Growth Machine, we've been using ConvertKit. So I'm not really sure what you're using the autoresponder for. So I kind of need to know that. And then, I think he's talking about AGM. So yeah, you can use any autoresponder that you want, right? So, I know that we integrate with Syndio, right? We use ConvertKit. You can use, we also use Aweber and ActiveCampaign for other things as well. So you can use those. ConvertKit's what we've been using for AGM. So you can definitely use any autoresponder you want. And then he said, is premium price, one-time price or per month? So Linus, for what Richard's doing, I think he's just doing a one-time price of $49, keeping it really easy, an easy yes, an easy win, an easy relationship builder, right? And then he says, if I have someone interested in this business, how do I bring the person in? And again, Linus, do you mean like they're interested in partnering up with you, or they're just interested in being on your influencer side? I would kind of need to know that.
Hey, so I'm gonna do one thing real quick, just to let you guys know that I'm serious. I'm gonna give away the first person right now. So Emily Paul, put your cash tag in the comments below. I'm gonna send you some money right now, and I do see that they're coming in. So
yeah. Henry said, Tom has 151 followers. Nick has 4,000 plus. Looks like Tom is definitely not pushing Insta. Yes. Awesome. Cool. Awesome.
Patty, you can win the Cash App again. I mean, we're not, if you're following both of us, you're going to be entered. You could win again. So don't worry. I mean,
yeah. And any questions that you guys have? Oh, so Emily says, what's a Cash App? So Emily, what's the website they go to, Nick?
So the Cash App is the best way to get money. It's totally free. It's free. All you have to do is go to offlinesharks.com/cash app, and you sign up for it's like an app that you put on your phone, and you get what's called a cash tag, and you just put that in the comments below, Emily. It's like a money sign with your username, and tag my name, and I'll send you the money. But it's free. Yeah. You can withdraw the money to your account, to your bank account. Doesn't cost any money. There's no fees, none of that stuff. It's free to join.
Yeah, and somebody from our team, I think, just put the link in the chat so you can get that up. One question we had a little earlier in the broadcast too was one of our sharks said they recently bought in the Shark Alliance and they're currently on level 2. They're also in Fusion. They jumped into the Fusion program with Mike Long, and they're working on that as well. But they've realized it's really difficult trying to focus on both programs and not making much progress. Should I put one on hold? What would you do in this circumstance? So that is a great question. And it's actually, it's funny. I've been answering this question, not exactly for this situation, but this applies to what I'm going to talk about here in a minute as well. Because we recently did a training this week with Chris Winters, where he had a guy that he's been helping build up a really successful multi-million-dollar business, and the guy was working at a steel mill, and he basically built up this huge business through Amazon, right? Like selling things on Amazon through arbitrage. And Nick and I know Chris. Chris, a really great stand-up guy. He's always got great information, takes great care of his students and his customers. And, we kind of watched this process sort of behind the scenes because we'd hear about it from Chris, and Chris had the guy document like his whole thing of where he went in and quit his job, and really amazing. And so we brought that to our sharks this week, and it's something very different from what we normally bring to our sharks. And we mainly did it because we've had people ask us about, maybe they're not getting traction with local marketing and they're just looking for other things to do. And we know this was something that was worked, right? But to answer this question, and I'm going to link it into this as well. Well, it is really important. Like, we do absolutely believe that you want to have multiple streams of income, right? But it's really important that you do them in the right way. And I think a mistake that a lot of people make is they just try to do too much all at one time. And so, when you hear Nick and I talking about maybe other opportunities that you could use to generate another revenue stream, to do all that kind of stuff, I want you to know that what we really mean by that is, like, you should pick one thing and focus on it until you have some traction. And once you have some traction with that, then you start developing another stream of income. But you want to get one going first and then move to the next one, right? So we have a lot of sharks in our community that, like Dorn, like, who else? I'm a lot of people in there that they have really good traction with their agencies right now, right? Like, they have systems in place. They've built that stream of income into what they're doing. And so they have really good traction. And so, starting another stream of income, like what we talked about this past week, might be a very viable option for them because it diversifies what they're doing, doesn't tie them to one thing, but they've already got this other thing going. Like, they're not trying to do them both. They're not trying to build them both simultaneously, right? So, that's kind of a long way to say our recommendation is always to focus on one thing, right? Build it out, and then start building another thing as well, right? So, we want you guys to have success with whatever it is you're trying to do. And a lot of time that comes back to those things we talked about, right? Like consistency, all that stuff. And if you're trying to do too many things at one time, which I've been so guilty of over the years, just take a step back, pick one thing. And it's also a lot of times too, I have found in my own experience, because a lot of times people will say like, well, but what choice do I make? Like, what's the best choice? And most of the time I have discovered there is no best choice. There's only the choice that you will actually do and take action on and stay consistent with. So don't get too wrapped up in trying to figure out which one is the absolute perfect thing. Like, there is no absolute perfect thing out there. It doesn't exist. What does exist is your ability to take something and then put all of your effort and focus behind making it work. So don't get too wrapped up in debating the decision. Like, just make a decision and then start moving forward and taking action. And I think that will really help you guys. And the path to six figures specifically is designed with all of that in mind, to take you step by step, level by level, consistency, hold you accountable, do all that stuff along the way. So that would be, was that clear? I hope that answer to that question was clear, but I did want to just touch on that a little bit because we have had a few questions about that and wanted to get that out there.
Yeah, so I think it's it's so important. Like you guys, we get a lot of people that are out there that like hit us up to like promote stuff. And if I could put a stack of paper to show you how many offers come our way, like you'd be blown away. I mean, the stack would be huge.
Yeah.
But we don't, right? But that being said, like we review everything that we promote. And when we come across something that makes sense, like this makes sense because people at home need to, figure out some different ways to get income, right? To make money. And sometimes it's, the fastest way is to do something like this. So we thought it'd be great to tell you guys about it. And I think Tom and my position is really like, if we find something that's awesome, wouldn't you want to know about it? It doesn't necessarily mean that you have to buy it, right? But we don't want to like keep that like hidden from you guys, right? Wouldn't you want to know about it? So that's why we do it. But yeah. don't overload yourself. I mean, that's not, you shouldn't be
We
doing
don't,
that.
we in no way, shape, or form expect people to buy everything that we talk about or every product we put out. In fact, you shouldn't be doing that. Like, you should be focusing on one thing and doing it one piece at a time. Like, when you look at a lot of the courses that we have and the courses we put out, like, we weren't doing those all at the same time, right? Those were all things that we had one service that we developed and we got traction with and we generated revenue. And once that one was moving on, we added another service in, and then we got that one going, and then we added another service in. So again, like we were talking about before, celebrating the events, it's really easy to look at where we're at now and think that we were always that way, and we weren't. Like, we weren't. It's been a process, a gradual building up and layering on of different things as we move forward. And I really think that's it doesn't seem like a fast way when you're doing it, but I think it is one of the fastest ways to hit the goals you want. So, pick one thing and stick with it. And it's hard because people around you are going to be all excited about the new things that are going on and they're going to be posting, but you have to stick to your guns. You just have to say, nope, this is the thing I've picked. I'm putting all my effort into making this work. And you just keep going until that thing works, and then start layering in the other stuff. Let's see. Rolf says, I'm thinking making a website for a local niche and renting that. If I want to copy that to another city, is it hard to copy the website to another domain? In other words, what's the secret to do this quickly? Thanks from the Netherlands. So that's a great question, Ralph. And so there are a lot of, if you build the website in WordPress, there are a lot of plugins out there that can help you, that will allow you to clone the website and then just install that instance on new domains. So Duplicator's one. There's all kinds of plugins that do it. So you can just Google plugins to clone a website, and it will show you how to do that. And so it's not difficult to do what you're asking. Yeah, CJ says squirrel.
Hey, just so you guys know, everybody that's here with us right now, just to make it easy on me, because we're on this live stream and there's tons of comments. What I'm going to do is I just made a post. So if you guys have already, you've already followed both of us and you want to be entered in that giveaway, just comment on the post that I made in the group, this post right here, and we'll verify it. And that way over the weekend, I can just go to that post and pick some people that we verified, and then it'll be easier, because I know that the the comments and the people tagging their names that they've entered are going to get lost. So I want to make everyone get a fair chance to make sure everybody does. And I see that Emily has her cash tag there, so I'm going to send you some money right now, Emily, and shut up. Sorry, Tom.
No. That's all good. That's all good. I see another shark says, the one thing question. What's the one thing I can work on today that will build the life I want to live in 3 years? Boy, that question is so general. Like, I don't really know how to answer that, because what's the life you want in 3 years? Like, what does that look like? Like, what are the goals you're trying to hit? And this comes back to kind of what I was saying before, like this idea that there's some secret thing, some magical one thing out there that will just, if you just do this, it will just get you to where you want to go is, I hate to say this, but it's a myth, right? Like it doesn't exist. We get this a lot when people say, well, what service should I be offering? Like the reality is, like if you watch Dorn in the Facebook group, he's doing a lot of different services, right? Like we have people in our group that are crushing it and they're all doing different services. So there's no one magical service to offer. Again, it's all about the process. So, without knowing what your goal is, what the your first step is to get clear on what that life is that you want to have in 3 years. And is 3 years a realistic goal? I don't know. It may or may not be. Like you're going to have to look at your skills and say, I always talk about entrepreneurship being a process of becoming, right? Like when you look at somebody that has a 7-figure business and you look at the things they're doing, like my realization was that I wasn't doing any of those things. Like I had to start developing those habits and becoming the type of person that does the things that leads to having a 7-figure business, right? So, there wasn't really one thing. It's been a lot of little things I've had to change over the years. But if I were just kind of make this a little more specific for you and bring it into local marketing and working with clients, like think about what are the revenue producing activities, right? Like what is the real revenue producing activity? Is the real revenue producing activity, if you're trying to build an agency, is prospecting and actually going out and getting clients. So if I were going to, if I wanted to build an agency to however big I wanted to build it, that's the one thing I would focus on. And I'd focus on it every day, right? And keep moving.
I mean, and it's not much more complicated than that, right? It's seriously revenue producing activity, prospecting. Do that every single day, whether you're doing that through email, whether you're doing that on the phone, you're doing that through, direct mail, whatever it is. If you do that every single day, you will get clients. Like prospecting equals customers. No prospecting, no customers. That's what it is, right? Like,
yeah. Well, and we spend a lot of time, like, we talk about it in a lot of our trainings, the getting ready to get ready, right? It's really easy to feel busy, but not really be moving the needle with the way you want, right? The way you want. So awesome. Let me see if there's any other questions in here. And then I like that. Don't make a to-do list, make a today list. Somebody said that's hard to chew. I know, it's a reality check, right? Like it's a reality check to think like, okay, I would bet everybody on this live right now has everything they need already. You probably know all the things you need to know right now while you're sitting on this live that would allow you to make 6 figures. I would bet all of you know it. There's not some extra thing you need to know. It's just, we got to put the process in place and start developing the habits to get you there, right? Like that's really what you need to do. You have all the information. And if you don't have the information, it's like one Google search away, right? Like it's like finding the information. Like if you didn't know something, if you started moving forward and you didn't know how to do something, it's pretty easy to find the information. So that's not the problem, right? Like the information isn't the issue. It's the focus, the consistent action, the developing the habits that the successful people have, right? The habits like what we've talked about of integrity, of, focusing on revenue producing activities, doing all those kinds of things. Awesome. There isn't another tool. Yeah, James says there isn't another tool we need either. That's right, James. Like, it's so funny James says that, Nick, and we'll probably end with this and then we'll wrap up this live. I know we're going a little over, but like I was just showing some of our private coaching students how I would get clients if I really didn't have anything. And it just involved Google. Like, you're right. You don't need a tool to get clients. Like you can just open up a Google search page and start looking around and find people that are, that need your services that you can help. So, it's really not the tools and all that stuff. It's the process of going out there, prospecting, the revenue producing activities, all those things. So, all right, that's it, Nick. I'm off my soapbox. You want to add anything to that?
I was just going to say, yeah, you just need to know where and how to look, right? And all of you, that have been in this group for any length of time, where and how to look, right?
Yeah, I can't. Or what are you searching for there?
I'm trying to get a picture. Sorry, trying to get a picture of to post in that group right there.
Yeah. Patty said The One Thing is a great book for squirrels. Thanks, Patty. That's an awesome reputation. That's an awesome recommendation. Cool. All right. So guys, thanks so much for hanging out with us this Friday. Pardon me.
There it is.
My throat got dry there. We really appreciate you being here. Let me, I'm going to put this up here. Follow us on Instagram, put your cash tag in there, and we'll be sending out some random money and stuff over the weekend. You guys try to stay safe this weekend. Practice aloha. And hold on, Nick, I got to share my screen here.
Yeah. You guys, that post is in the group. So if you follow us, go to that post in the Facebook group and just let us know that you followed us. And then I'll be picking those people at random. Emily Paul's our first winner. And if you guys have any other questions, let us know in the group and we'll answer them.
Yeah, and we really appreciate you guys being here, hanging out with us, and we will see you next Friday.
You've been listening to the Sharks Live Show, your weekly local marketing jam session. Every week, packed full of local marketing strategy, tactics, tips, and fun. We hope you've gotten some useful and practical information from this show. And we hope you had fun along the way. We know we did. Don't forget to leave a like on this stream. Drop a comment below and share it with anyone you think might find it useful. And if you're not already a member of the most valuable marketing group on Facebook, head over to offlinesharks.com/group to join right now for free. There's more exciting new marketing info coming at you throughout the week. Nick's YouTube video on Sundays at nickponte.com/YouTube, and Tom's weekly podcast called What's the Secret, with a new episode each Tuesday at tomgaddis.com. And then back here next Friday for the Sharks Live Show. Till then, this is the Sharks Live Show, signing off.